Captain Rick Thompson never imagined that saving a crashed alien ship would lead to the most awkward 3 months of his life. The grateful Vortani government had insisted on providing him with a cultural exchange companion, essentially a maid, who would learn human customs while helping maintain his modest space station. Lila was 7 feet tall, with iridescent blue skin and 4 arms that made her incredibly efficient at household tasks. Her species resembled a cross between a praying mantis and a supermodel, which Rick found both fascinating and mildly terrifying. She had adapted to human customs remarkably well, learning to cook his favorite meals and even developing a fondness for old Earth sitcoms. Everything changed when Lila's behavior became increasingly erratic. She began following Rick around the station, her large compound eyes tracking his every movement. When he asked what was wrong, she would simply chirp in her melodic language and scurry away, her 4 arms fluttering nervously. The situation escalated when Rick discovered Lila had been collecting his discarded clothing. Not just any clothing specifically. His underwear, socks, and anything that had been in close contact with what humans euphemistically termed their private areas. She had arranged them in elaborate patterns around her quarters, almost like a shrine. "Leela, we need to talk," Rick said, finding her in the middle of organizing his sock drawer by scent intensity. She froze, her antennae twitching. "Rick human. Requires clean undergarments. Lila provides excellent service." "That's not—" "Look, you can't just take my underwear. And why are you sniffing my gym shorts?" Leela's skin shifted to a deeper blue, which Rick had learned indicated embarrassment. Leela enters breeding cycle. Human Rick possesses superior genetic markers. Leela must study human reproduction methods. Rick's face turned red. "Breeding cycle? Oh, no. We need to call the Vortani embassy right now." Within hours, Ambassador Keth arrived via emergency transport. The elderly Vortani male took one. Look at Lila's elaborate underwear shrine, and began chittering in what Rick could only assume was alien laughter. "Captain Thompson, I apologize for the confusion," Ambassador Keth said, his translator rendering his amusement. "Young Lila has indeed entered her breeding cycle, but there appears to be a significant misunderstanding about human reproduction." "Misunderstanding?" Rick asked weakly. "The Vortani reproduce through complex pheromone exchanges. Leela believes that human reproductive organs are external and detachable, based on your species' habit of covering them with removable fabric layers." Rick stared at the ambassador. "She thinks my underwear is my reproductive organs?" "Precisely. In Vortani culture, the reproductive organs are indeed detachable during breeding season. Lila has been attempting to court these fabric appendages, believing them to be her genetic material." The situation became even more absurd when Ambassador Keth explained that Lila had been reporting back to the Vortani Biological Research Institute about the miraculous human ability to regenerate reproductive organs daily. Her detailed reports had caused quite a stir in alien scientific circles. "They think humans can regrow their private parts every day?" Rick asked, incredulous. "Your species has become legendary among Vortani researchers. They believe you possess the most advanced reproductive system in the galaxy, capable of infinite regeneration and producing dozens of genetic samples daily." Lila, who had been listening with growing horror, suddenly began chittering rapidly. Ambassador Keth translated. "She wants to know if she has been courting your laundry." "Yes, Lila, you've been trying to mate with my underwear." Leela's skin shifted through several shades of blue before settling on what Rick had learned was the Vortani equivalent of mortification. She began apologizing profusely, her 4 arms gesticulating wildly. "She says she will return all your reproductive organs immediately," Ambassador Keth translated. "They're not reproductive organs, they're just clothes." The cultural exchange took an unexpected turn when Rick had to give an impromptu biology lesson to both aliens. Using his tablet, He showed them basic human anatomy diagrams, explaining that reproductive organs were permanently attached and that underwear was simply protective clothing. Ambassador Keth was fascinated. So humans cannot detach their reproductive systems? Definitely not. And please tell your research institute that we don't regenerate anything daily except maybe dead skin cells. This is most disappointing, Ambassador Keth said. The Vortani Council was very excited about the possibility of human regenerative abilities. We were hoping to learn from your species. However, Rick's explanation of human reproduction, particularly the concepts of emotional bonding and long-term pair relationships, proved equally fascinating to the Vortani. Ambassador Keth explained that most alien species reproduce through biological imperatives alone, without the complex emotional attachments that humans formed. Your species mates for emotional satisfaction, rather than purely genetic survival? Ambassador Keth asked. Among other reasons, yes. Remarkable. Perhaps humans are more advanced than we initially believed. Lila, having recovered from her embarrassment, became intensely curious about human romantic customs. She began asking detailed questions about dating, marriage, and human courtship rituals. Her breeding cycle apparently made her an ideal cultural anthropologist. So humans give each other flowers and share food as courtship displays? She asked. Sometimes, yes. And you perform elaborate vocal presentations? You mean singing? Sure, some people do that. Leela's compound eyes lit up. Leela would like to learn human courtship songs. Perhaps Lila can find proper human mate using correct methods. Ambassador Keth chuckled. I believe Lila has learned a valuable lesson about the importance of proper cultural research. As the misunderstanding resolved, Rick found himself oddly proud of humanity's unique approach to reproduction and relationships. While other species focused purely on genetic compatibility and biological imperatives, humans had developed complex emotional bonds that aliens found remarkably sophisticated. Captain Thompson, Ambassador Keth said as he prepared to leave, the Vortani Council would like to extend your cultural exchange program. Perhaps you could teach other young Vortani about human customs. Rick looked at Lila, who was carefully returning his underwear while muttering what sounded like alien apologies. Sure, he said. But next time, maybe we should start with a basic anatomy lesson. Lila's antennae perked up. Lila volunteers for advanced human studies. Leela promises to study actual humans, not human laundry. And so began Rick's unexpected career as an interspecies cultural educator, teaching alien species about the complexities of human reproduction, relationships, and the crucial distinction between people and their underwear.